Hey there, has the recent financial volatility really got you nervous about your financial future? Maybe you have a bunch of money in investments and they've been going up and down this whole year because we've been whipsawed this year with a 35% market downturn and then kind of a V-shaped recovery. It's been a wild ride. And we don't know what the future has in store for us, what the elections will do, whoever, stays in power or gets put in power, or how that affects, the market. So financial volatility is a great concern. My name's Steve Larsen. I work with Produce Freedom, and we help people create financial independence so that they can live the life that they want to. They want to live their life of passion and purpose and give back and be a hero to others. And so in the last 3 videos, this is a 4-part video series. In the last 3 videos, I kind of built up to this video where we're going to talk about the numbers and show you in numbers how this actually works and how the tools actually work, okay? So let's give a little bit of a history lesson and then we'll jump into a little bit more numbers. So if you look at the history of financial planning, before 1980s, most companies offered some type of pension plan, right? You could go and you could work for them for 30 or 40 years, get a pension plan, and you'd have a solid cash flow through retirement because you had a strong pension. Now, in around the 1980s, there was something that was created called the 401k, which basically changed the onus of getting the pension plans from the companies to kind of our own self-funding our own pension 401k. And it took the responsibility off the companies. And maybe good and bad, but it's really created what we call a probability-based planning, meaning that if we take all of our money and put it into the market, we're just hoping that the market goes up. We don't know what's going to happen, and we look and I go, well, it will probably go up because we've seen it in the past, but there's no sure deal. So we're shifting, our practice is shifting to this kind of safety first planning where we're making sure that when we build our financial plan, that, yeah, we're going to use speculation to help grow our assets, but that's not the only power we're going to use. In one of the previous videos I talked about, there's rate of return power and there's actuarial science power. We're going to combine both of those so that we have an amazing, rock solid plan in retirement. So I commend you for, if you're in your 20s, your 30s, your 40s, you're early, you're thinking about this before you're just, it's like, oh no, I'm retiring next month, and then I've got to go deal with this. Because when you do that, we can put these things into place and they become so much more efficient and so much more powerful so that you can create a balanced approach to this thing we call retirement and have continuous cash flow all through retirement. And so here's an example, and you may have seen this before, but I wanted to show you the power of this, what we call a volatility buffer. Now, this here in this column, if you see my mouse, this 20 years over here, basically shows the rates of returns in the S&P 500 over a 20-year period, okay? So these are real rates of return for a certain time period. And I want to imagine that you have $750,000 saved up in retirement, and you tell your advisor, hey, I need $75,000 to live. That helps me live comfortably. And let's just, set me up for that. So, okay, this money comes out consistently like clockwork. But what happens is you end up running out of money at year 13 and a half. Now, the reason is, look what happens. In years 4 and 5, we have a market downturn, 2 years back to back, almost a 40% downturn. And it comes back in year 6, up 37%. But the problem is you've taken $150,000 out, essentially selling your assets at the bottom of the market so that you could live and consume. And then that $150,000 didn't get to rise up and appreciate during that 37% rise and that 23% rise. So you have less capital, less principal to continue to help propel you forward. Now, when we combined this interest rate power, right, the speculative growth power, along with actuarial science, we create something called a volatility buffer. And this is what we do in my practice to help you navigate through this thing we call retirement. Now, instead of just relying completely on having your money in the market, being subject to these losses, when we plan, if we start, and especially if we start early, now we can still do things in all periods of time, no matter what age you are, but especially if you start early, we start allocating this money in retirement to different buckets, some into the speculative and some into the actuarial science type products. And so instead of these years where the markets, this one is, hey, the market didn't hit 4%, so we're going to take from our volatility buffer, or here we had some negative returns. just by taking out of our volatility buffer those years, and you still have that money coming in. So instead of, you're not getting zero, you're just taking it from a different bucket. Not only does your money in the market provide a retirement through 20 years, but also ends up with more money than you started with. So this is the power of using two economic powers, of the interest rate and the rate of return power, and also the actuarial science power. This is what we do for our clients every single day and have been for years. If this is something that you think, hey, I should probably look at this and I'd rather have two powers working for me than just one, then let's look at this. Let's deep dive in, get on my calendar, use the link below, and we're going to apply our continuous cash flow method to your position. Okay, and we'll walk you through it. We'll show you how it works. You ask all your questions, and if it makes sense, we'll put something together. But the first appointment it's free of charge. Just make sure you show up for your appointment prepared and ready to share where you're at. And I'm excited to work with you. But I hope you guys enjoy this video series and you're carried on to great things, because we want you to be able to live in abundance, live your passion and purpose, and give back. Be a hero to someone else, and not just worry about your own financial position all through retirement. So we want to get that out of the way so that you can continue to provide help and service and love to others. So again, thanks for joining with me today, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye.